Welcome everybody to yet another Iliad webinar series webinar. Today we are going to talk about digital twins of the ocean in practice. So we have this nice bouquet of expert speakers with us. So you will get some demonstrations. You will also be able to discuss more generally how we can actually make use of these twins on the long run, just after the projects where we develop these twins ends. So how they can be made useful in society. That's what we aim for. So my name is Bente Lilja. I am going to be a host as usual, and I'm also going to introduce you to Iliad very quickly for those of you who are not familiar with that. And then we will go through the program. A little bit of housekeeping. We are going to mute ourselves when we are not speaking. And please do engage in the chat, ask questions, have comments and observations in the chat. And then we will take those comments and suggestions and questions in after the presentations. And I will start now by showing you the agenda so that you get an overview of what will happen the next 90 minutes or so. So I will start then by sharing my screen. Let me see. So this is the webinar today. We will start with a short introductions to Iliad and to digital twins. We will also talk a little bit about technology transfer, and that's Sofia that will do that for us. And then we have three demonstrations of actual twins, and two of them are addressing oil spill. So first with Antonis Parasyris from Forth in Greece, and then oil spill from Cohen from the University of Haifa, and aquaculture on mussels aquaculture in Italy by Andrea. And then EARSC, we are happy to have EARSC with us today, and Weronica will introduce us to EARSC, so you will get to know a little bit more of what this organization is, and then also about a project related very much to what we are doing here in Iliad. And please do stay on to discuss with all of us what we can do for maintaining and sustaining these wonderful technologies for decision making. So I'm a little bit more about me. So very shortly, I'm the innovation manager of Iliad. I run a research and consultancy company in Norway called BLB, and I'm very much involved in everything related to data sharing and data management. And the first speaker is Sofia. So Sofia Parsadanyan is a project manager at the Armenian University, the American University of Armenia. And she's really a good expert on entrepreneurship, and she is developing the technology transfer tools that we are providing from Iliad. So Sofia, I give the floor to you. No, I don't. I just give the floor to myself first, and then I will give the floor to you. So we have done that. Okay, so I will start sharing again. A quick fix on digital twins first. So the digital twin of the ocean, the digital twin is very simply said, a replica, a digital replica of the physical reality, and also the interactions between the different components of the ocean, in this case, and activities and other buildings and boats, etc. So Iliad then build these twins that is representing the environment, and we are running complex and predictive management scenarios, and it's an innovation system that integrates multiple disciplines, sensors, models, and also digital infrastructures. So it's a complex system, but we are doing it in an interoperable way. It's very data intensive. That's also one of the foundations for the fact that we can actually create digital twins today, and we are looking to do it cost effectively so that it's sustainable in every way. As I said, the ocean is complex, and we take that into considerations. So when we say ocean, a digital twin of the ocean, we actually include the components of the ocean, obviously, biological and geophysical, etc. But also the boats, as I said, the harbor, when the coastline, how the ocean is meeting other elements. We reflect the complexity, and we are doing that through cooperating with existing resources, organizations, databases, etc., that is needed to create these digital twins. And so interoperability and standards and best practices is very much on the top of our agenda, and we need to align, and we are working very hard on aligning this for creating digital systems. So in short, Iliad is creating interoperable digital twins using existing resources, but also adding new resources, including citizen science, both as data and methodology. We make all of this available on the marketplace, and not only the twins that we are building, but the components that is composing, these digital twins. So you can reuse in many different ways as you wish. And of course, we are providing concrete solutions to societal challenges. We say that in Iliad, we are creating thematic and local twins, and you will see demonstrations of that today, actually. And you see there are 12 areas here. Oil spill is one, and we will cover that, and also aquaculture, but we have also renewable energies, different types of renewable energies, harbor, safety, etc. I'll go fast through this. And since we are now discussing digital twins in practice, I want to point out that we have this innovation booster. So we need capacity development. We need to develop businesses, the business plans. We need to relate to policy, and everything needs to be made available on the marketplace. So this is included. Very quickly, it's a big project. We are in the now last 6 months of the project. We are 19 countries spread all over Europe, in Africa, and the Middle East. And the total investment is close to 19 million euros. And with that now, Sofia, you are up next. The tech transfer.
Now the floor is mine.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sofia. Give me please a few seconds. I will share my screen to show something interesting, I hope. Okay. I believe you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So, digital twins of the ocean in practice. This is the topic of today's webinar. And I will briefly talk about the resources that can actually help project leaders, researchers to develop their projects, to bring them into that condition when they will be ready to be shown to clients, customers, and users, and like they would be ready to go to market. So we are developing this tool, Blue Tech Transfer, and I'll, in details, what is it? We know that we have today plenty like ocean of resources we have grants for research development, special funding for business development, plenty of startup support services, and we have end users, clients, customers, associations of end users, clients, customers, specific data and technical infrastructure. All these type of resources, they already exist. The question actually is, how are you supposed to get information about all these beautiful things? I think the prison. And all the question actually is, how are you really supposed to get information about all these type of resources? For sure, we can use Google. We can use ChatGPT. Even before Google and ChatGPT, we had an opportunity to use rumor mill. But all these ways to get the information, they are actually quite time consuming. So you need to verify everything you've been told, or you were able to found, or you've been told by ChatGPT that there is something. And we decided to use Google, ChatGPT, and even a rumor mill to create a specific one-stop shop with a consolidated information on all type of resources that are now available for your specific project. We had collected this database of resources, verified it, and divided into different types of technology readiness level of the project, so that any scientist or project manager would be able to go to a specific web page. It is actually now launched on Iliad website, so you can do this. I will provide you with the link a bit later. If you provide the system with the simple details about yourself, your organization, and your project, because basically the main thing is for the system to detect what is the technology readiness level of your project, and then the system would be able to bring you a list of useful, valuable, we believe, resources for your specific project. It's already available, so you can try it. Here's the link and the QR code. And actually, if you try it and give us your feedback, we will be really happy, because we are working on making this tool really simple and valuable, and to actually save your time on looking for different types of funding, data infrastructure, or consulting services. Thank you very, very much for your attention. I tried to be as brief as I could.
Thank you very much, Sofia, indeed. And just to relate it to digital twins in practice, is that when you are both developing and then running digital twins, you actually need various types of resources. And what you said, you know, the tech transfer tool that Iliad is developing here is meant to help for that. And we know that it saves times, as you said, finally, you know, at the end, Sofia. So this is the idea, to save time to find resources, the appropriate resources.
Maybe I would emphasize one more thing, that in these types of resources, we're considering clients and end users to be one of those type of resources. And for each domain, we are bringing a relevant list of biggest, actually, potential clients, not actually for them to be the clients from the very first contact, but maybe to give a feedback on a project development, or to become a co-designer. So from the technology readiness level 4, I believe, till 9, those type of this type of information would be available. So I think this was an important thing to emphasize.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much, Sofia. I did launch one of the polls that we have. I will take that before we go to see some of these results, this twins. I asked here that, are you developing a digital twin? You know, who are developing twins? And it's about 50-50 among us that are actually developing twins, more that have a potential of starting to build a digital twin. So, but now let's go to see some demonstrations. And we have, as I said, we have 2 oil spill digital twins, and it will be interesting to see the similarities and the differences, and we can discuss this particular situation in the discussion part. And then, of course, we have an aquaculture demonstrations as well. So we start with you, Antonis, and I give you the floor. Antonis, by the way, is working for Forth. Sorry, Antonis, just to give you a very quick introduction also.
That's fine.
And Antonis is working on many different European projects, and he is involved in the development of machine learning applications on climate and atmospheric forecasting, and also in data science and data assimilation in climate models, etc. So he is one of our technical experts. Now, Antonis, the floor is yours.
Ah, thanks. Can you see my screen? Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is the demo of the oil spill identification and forecasting pilot that we have in Crete Sea. We're collaborating in this pilot with Mio from Italy, Nesktech, and GeoMachine for visualization platforms. These are our partners from Iliad that have collaborated with us to advance these pilots. I'm from Forth, yeah, as you said already. This is the target area, which is characterized by high socioeconomic and environmental interest and increased human activities with recent offshore oil and gas exploration and exploitation activities, making the need for an oil spill detection and forecasting application even more prominent. A series of application packages are developed for that purpose, which are presented in this demonstration, along with tools created that help an end user access the results of high-resolution forecasts. Let me go now to the Iliad marketplace, where we have a product called Create an Oil Spill Response, where you can search the products as you see here in the Iliad page, and you can see a description of the contributors and the actual application that we have developed. Here you can see some screenshots of oil spills and the GeoMachine platform, as I will explain later. Now, Adam is a platform that does also the data lake for us for the high resolution models. You can access it through that green button there. And users of the digital twin environment can discover and download datasets through Adam. Its backend service accesses the S3 bucket and downloads models output and indexes them in the Adam catalog. By using a Jupyter notebook, as you're seeing here scrolling there, the users can discover all available datasets, importing the Adam API module. Then they can also read the harmonized metadata and proceed with data discovery and access. Adam also works as a visualization platform for the high resolution models that we have here around Crete. And you can find another product in the marketplace called Adam platform, sorry. And you can access it through that green button again, where you can see the data exploration service, create a free account, and have access to also see the daily data that we create around the island of Crete. Here you can see the products that are WRF that we run for atmospheric at 3 kilometer resolution, and also NEMO and WaveWatch for the ocean state at 1 kilometer resolution in hourly temporal discretization. And if you wait a little bit, the module, the Adam loads. Here is a pressure at mean sea level, and you can zoom in, zoom out, and it's interactive. You can change the color bars and go through the time dimension. Now, accessing application packages on the Iliad marketplace, there are links in our product. You can see here that there are this link that takes you to the website. This is the registry of all the application packages. These are hosted by Nesktech, and you can see, for example, this bathymetry cutting tool, and this is the command line tool for MedSlick. This is a packaged application that contains all the necessary information to run the MEDSLIC, the oil spill forecasting module. This is a simple example of what is an application package and how easily it runs. So this is a bathymetry cropping application where with just one command, you can call the link from that catalog that you saw earlier, and you can input data, input parameters like the latitude and longitude where you want to cut the bathymetry, and then you can see the code runs itself, and you can visualize with any viewer that output. It's an NC output in this case. Now, to more complex application packages, we have a satellite detection application package workflow, where it has been created by MIO. It's been developed for, it's been split in 5 different work packages. This is the first one that we are seeing here, which does the image download. It searches for SAR images and downloads them in the appropriate format. It runs as simple as I showed you earlier with just one command, and then passes this information to application package 2, which does the pre-processing. The pre-processing removes speckles and stuff that wouldn't allow for the automatic identification of the oil spill. So it's a necessary step. Then these pre-processed images are passed on to application package 3. Which is a little bit further. Here is application package 3. How long it takes for each machine, it can run locally or in HPC. So it depends on the computation capabilities of your machine. And now this gives out, runs an FCOS detection neural net that gives out bounding boxes of potential oil spill that has been identified by SAR imagery. And now the application package 4 and 5, these are complementary to each other. These are alternative ways to do the same thing. The application package 4 runs a UNet convolutional neural network that has been trained for the exact specific purpose of identifying and cropping, not cropping, masking, making the segmentation masks of the oil spills, which are then can be inputted into the forecasting MEDSLIC, the oil spill forecasting software. This is the application package 5, which alternative uses Snappy, and these images can be then shown at any GIS viewer, as you will see in the next part of the demo. We have here the comparison of the 2 application packages, 4 and 5, which can then be inputted into the forecasting pipeline. The oil spill application forecasting application package runs also with a simple command. You can find it also in the marketplace page where everything is hosted there, and a user can take all the information from there and run for his own the pipeline. And here you can see that for a specific run that we have done, the coordinates fall outside the create and bounding box. So we have created alternative ways if the SAR isn't detected in the create and see to take forecasts from global datasets and integrate them into the algorithmic flowchart of the MEDSLIC. This takes a little bit of time. Again, it's dependent. I think it's forward a bit in time, so it doesn't take too long. But it depends on also the resolution that you run your model, the background models. So for the create and see, it takes substantial more computational time. Here is a summary slide for the application packages that have been created for this purpose. These are the 5 dockers on the top that I have talked about for the identification part, with the one passing input to the other. And then finally, the signal is extracted and passed on the docker here on the bottom, which can also use the bathymetry cropping for less storage, or require less storage in the final docker. it's a good idea to split the Dockers into many subtasks, so these can be reused in other tasks. For example, this Docker for the bathymetry cropping has been also reused in other pilots within Iliad. And then this oil spill model takes us into, if they fall within the Cretan bounding box, the WRF, NEMO, and waveforms that you saw earlier that are hosted in the Adam API, our data lake. And the oil spill model then forecasts trajectories, beached oil, and oil weathering. As you will see next in our visualization part, we have created, in collaboration with GeoMachine, you can find the link in the marketplace again, explore GeoMachine, and then you can create a free account and let us know that you have interest in using that. We provide the access freely to the oil spill machine that we have created, and there you see some details on the left, and you can upload the output from those said application packages and give it a uniquely identifying name so you can load it whenever you want, and click generate. Depending on the load of the server and also how big the file that you're uploading is. It can take up to 10 minutes, but this one is on the short side. So let it run in real time. Yes, it should be like that. And here you can see the previously the signal extracted from the SAR that I showed you. You can also change the layout, add low-res bathymetry, and you can change the color and move it forward in time. This has already run in the server or in your personal computer, and you can see how the oil spill would be transferred with the forecasted waves and currents. Here is a work that we're doing in the final months of the project, where in collaboration with EARSC, they have made this interactive viewer, a 4D viewer, where inputting the output of the MEDSLIC on the pipeline shown earlier, you can see it in 4 dimensions and navigate, and also see if there are multiple layers in depth, so how the oil spill would move in that direction. This was my presentation. Thank you. Any questions? I suppose.
Thank you so much, Antonis. It's very impressive, and we got a good mix of coding flying over the screen to see what's going on behind, and also some very nice visualization. I have some questions, but I think in interest of time, I know that Weronica, who we would really like to discuss with, is going to leave us 4:15. So I think that I will hold my horses and then give the floor to Tom for yet another oil spill, and also in the Mediterranean, but in another location. I assume because Tom, she is a PhD candidate at the University of Haifa. Her fields of expertise is oil spill, and she's working very much with remote sensing data, machine learning, data processing in general. So yet another of our very fine experts in Iliad. Tom, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Let me share. I'll start with a small presentation. Just a second, please. Okay. Full screen. Do you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, we are doing oil spill in the Mediterranean, but I will also show you what we have done in the Red Sea. What is important to, sorry, just a second. What is important about this project is that the concept that we are aiming for is actually using only open source satellites. And we are using the Copernicus mission data, both Sentinel-1, 2, and 3. Sentinel-1 is SAR imaging, Sentinel-2 is multispectral, and Sentinel-3 is has sensors of both water color and water temperature, and we are using it for the validation process. As I mentioned, this is again, we are not a commercial company. We are coming from the academic world, from the university. And so we are intending to do this as open as possible. And at the end of the day, we are meaning for it to serve as many people in terms of preserving the ecosystems in the ocean. So the case study, unfortunately, we have started with is the 2021 Mediterranean oil spill that was an absolute ecological disaster. It happened on February 2021. And as you can see here, those are all images that we have taken, me and people from our lab, from our coasts here, when we went to clean them. So you can see that it happened during a few days of the storm, and it was chaotic. The spill came to the actual shore, which is what we definitely don't want. We want to detect the spill as early as possible, so we can still take over the whole situation. When it's still in deep sea, we have higher chances to collect the oil before it spreads around and looks like this. So with this, we went to our way. And as I mentioned, we are using several Copernicus data. And the main issues that we encountered was that when we are trying to monitor, most of the applications of oil spills are focusing on SAR images because SAR is quite stable for those types of purposes. But the thing is that when a storm like the one we encountered happens, it's no longer effective. And we were trying to understand what we can do in those cases that are not that normal in our area. And what we're doing when we have small cases, and I'll show it to you in the Red Sea, when we have oil spills around the harbors that are not a huge leak, but just like general oil floating around. So we started with the data collection, and then we tried to configure how we are taking oil spill from Sentinel-1, from the SAR imaging alone, and from Sentinel-2 on its own, when it's important to note that using multispectral data to detect oil spills is quite difficult because there are so many types of water and so many types of oil. And when we are doing spectroscopy, which is what we're doing with multispectral analysis, you are usually trying to put your hands on the oil itself. But since we had such wide range, we thought about it the other way around. We thought that we are going to do it as an anomaly. We are going to know what we have in the water on the regular basis. It might be the actual water parameters in the specific area, which is why the system needs to be calibrated. But it can also be, a matter of how much we can identify other types of things that can happen in this water. For example, if we have multiple seaweeds in this area, we want to know what they are, because otherwise they can also be detected as an anomaly. And we want to only detect the oil spill type of anomaly. And as I mentioned, we are dealing with very large satellite data, and it has both a very distinct revisit time of between 5 to 6 days, and they're not overlapping. And they have quite a large spatial resolution, which doesn't serve us well, as I mentioned, when we're doing smaller cases. So what we were doing is using the different types of data, using data fusion techniques to enhance both the spatial resolution as well as the temporal resolution when they are when we are actually trying to configure how it looks in between those days. And then we are getting a special temporal resolution of approximately 2 days, which gives us a much better understanding of where the spill is in terms of monitoring and prediction. We also use machine learning for the whole process of the enhancement. If you want to know more, you can always approach me later. But generally speaking, we are trying to configure how we can do super resolution from the data that is not great. As you saw, we're talking about approximately 10 over 10 meters per pixel. Sometimes the oil spills are even smaller than that, especially when they start spreading around. So this is some example, and then I'll go to show you our interface. So for example, this is our shore. You can see that before the storm, around February 14, everything was clear. What you see here is actually us getting the clouds out. It's not the spill. But then when you are looking at several days after the storm, as I mentioned, it ended around the 19th or the 20th, you can see the spill on the shore itself. This huge white block here is the oil spill. And a few weeks afterwards, we see it still covering our area, but it goes further south. So this gives us quite a good envisioning of what we are capable of doing here. Let me stop this sharing. Oh, you know what? Let me share something. I'll save it to the end. Okay, so if we go, you see my interface right now, right? Okay, perfect. So if we go to our interface, what we're doing is actually quite simple. We are asking the user to only put at this point a polygon of what the area he wants to detect. Let me draw one right now. Let's say for this area here. And we are setting the dates that we are want to configure our oil spill within. So let's go to the 2021 case I showed you. And let's do the detection. What's that? I'm sorry. Let me check what is wrong with the interface. Just a second, please.
The polygon seemed to disappear after you made it. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
I
was
think
correct.
something, I'm so sorry. Maybe something is off with the internet. Sometimes it's quite unstable here. So once it get lost,
This is the excitement of live demos.
Okay, so there we go. I'm so sorry. Oh, I stopped the sharing. Just a second.
Yeah.
Okay. There you have it. So here you can see my polygon. Again, that was the problem. It's so unstable. I'm gonna remove it now so you can see the oil spill detection underneath. So you can see that here I checked the dates between the 15th and the 25, and it gives you the area where you get it the most. It goes by a threshold. So those are the days where it already started going south, and you can see it here. But if we go to an area like the Red Sea, Let's go to something very random. Let's go to last August. And we'll go like this over a period of time of approximately 10 days. Because again, it's important to note that we don't have as many imaging around this area. It only goes by every few days. Oh, sorry, I didn't. Well, it was again lost. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm so sorry. Something is again wrong with the.
Yeah, it looked like the polygon disappeared again.
Yeah,
Also,
it's something about the stability. It's like it misses a step along the way.
but this is live now, then, Tom.
Yeah.
So people can access this page and do what you have shown us.
So the thing is that we haven't published it to the public just yet. We are finishing our work with it and adding a few more features, and hopefully by the end of the project with Iliad, we are going to fully publish it, and then it will be fully accessible for just the general public. We are also working with ecological societies and NGOs in order to understand and configure their specific needs. So at the end of the day, they are our main target in this project. Okay, so I'm sorry for the.
No, but you succeeded in demonstrating the functionality, even though the Red Sea was less cooperative as
Yeah,
well.
he was not cooperating. You saw it goes like blank, so something is wrong with the. It's too. But I do want to mention that one. Here it's as I mentioned, the internet is not that stable, which is a problem because all of our work doesn't require any capabilities from your own computers. We are working completely on the cloud, and the interface is only requires a good connection to the internet.
It indeed is a good example of some of the challenges of digital twins of the ocean in practice. There are certain issues that we need to relate to. So if that's it, Tom, thank you very much. We will come back to the discussion. It's very interesting to see both these approaches on oil spill. We will come back to that, as I said. But now we will take the third demo. And we are moving over to aquaculture, but we still remain somewhere in the Mediterranean, aren't we, Andrea? Andrea is a marine biologist and researcher, and he is working with the Italian Association of Aquaculture Farmers, and is also involved in several EU projects, etc. But today he is going to show us the mussels farm digital twin. Andrea, the floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon. We have implemented a pilot on the mussel aquaculture farmer, and in the Italian coast of the North Italy, on the Adriatic side. And I want to share my screen. Can you see it?
We see it, but it's
now.
Now it's better. Yes, thank you.
The pilot on aquaculture, on mussel aquaculture, was implemented in Italy and the lead partner is AMA, the Mediterranean Aquaculture Association. So we are not expert in the data modeling or data analysis, but we are the farmer at the sea, the representative of the farmers. So we have we need help by technicians that are expert in data modeling and data analysis, like Taltech, Hydromod. So the partners that helped us during the pilot are these two, Taltech and Hydromod. Concerning the pilot, this is the sensor that we put into the water. Taltech give us the sensor, and the sensor was installed inside mussel farming in order to detect some data that are very important from the farmers because of the climate change. Because in the last year, the frequency of big storms at the sea and the temperature of the sea are increased so much. So the farmers have to deal with this problem, and accurate data in situ on these parameters are very important for the farmer in order to ask some money to the insurance company. So we have to prove the damage inside the mussel farming, and for this we need real-time data in situ. So we put two sensors, one at 3 meters deep, one on the bottom at 11 meters deep in Cattolica, in the North Italian East Coast. And this is the interface that Taltech provide to us. By selecting AMA, you can see the real-time data coming from the sensor. The data, the mussel farm is located 2 miles far from the coast. These are the parameters that we can detect with these two sensors: the pressure, the current velocity, the temperature of the sea, and the direction of the current. Obviously, you can download all the data by clicking the export button. And especially in this summer, we have a lot of data concerning the increase of the temperature into the sea, because for 1 month the temperature was close to 31 degrees on the surface, and on the bottom 28 degrees. So for the mussel is a real problem, because they die at this temperature, and we have insurance cover that insurance policy that covered the demand, and each time that the temperature increase over 28 degrees. So the farmer will be paid in this case. the sensor are two, and this is the average of the two sensor. But there is another interface that we used. This interface is provided by Hydromod, that create a model for the analysis of the data coming from satellite and other sources. This is the interface that we use by selecting Haifa Aquaculture pilot. There is a dashboard where you can find the data relating to water salinity, dissolved oxygen, nitrate, precipitation, and air temperature and water temperature, and also the Po river water flow that are very important for the mussels. So inside this dashboard, this website provided by Hydromod, we can find, we can compare the in situ data with the satellite data, and also have some prediction on the future Po flow or precipitation and other important parameter that can help the farmer. This is the interface, the website, the dashboard of that Hydromod provide to us. All the data are shared by some graphics, and you can also download all the data in this case. We put a threshold for the temperature at 28 degrees for the mussels, and also we have data on the past temperature of the past years. Concerning the installation of the sensor, was very difficult for us, because we don't know how to manage this kind of tools. And so when we put into the water, when Taltech send us a sensor, we need some time to manage to set up all the facilities into the water. Concerning the pilot, the partners involved are AMA, Mediterranean Aquaculture Association, Taltech, the Tallinn University of Technology, and Hydromod. The end user will be the mussel farmer, the insurance companies that have to cover the damage, but also the data are open to research center, fishing sector, or other activity linked to the maritime sector. The parameters that we've detected during in the pilot are two. One related to the real-time data, so the current speed, the waves height, and the sea temperature, and also the pressure. And the other database coming from satellite and Copernicus detected some data related to the seawater salinity, the dissolved oxygen, the nitrate, the air temperature, the water temperature, the precipitation, Po river flow, chlorophyll levels, that are very important because are the nutrient of the mussels. I want to show you also some picture about the installation of the of a sensor. I don't know if you can see my PowerPoint or not now.
We see the PowerPoint, but not in presentation mode.
Okay. Sorry, but my computer is not collaborative today. I don't know why.
Because you're live. Now it's coming, it looks like.
Okay.
Yes.
So for the installation of the sensor, we have to go to the mussel farm, and this is the typical damage that storm created on the mussel socks, and the temperature created into the sea. This is a type of algae that creates some like mold, and this is a real problem for the mussel. And but finally we can see how we managed to install the sensor. We have to go to a structure into the sea in order to put all the solar panel and other things, and on the bottom we put this because of the mod we have to deal with some difficulties, because we think that the sensor could be submerged by the mod, but so we have to build a particular structure in order to set up all the sensors. This is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Indeed, yet another illustration of the challenges that you have to face, find solution of when you are doing something in practice and not in theory. So hurrying on. Yeah.
I tried to okay. Now it's work. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So we hurry on and to listen to Weronica Borejko. She is from EARSC, and she will introduce that, so I will not say that, but she has an experience from the commercial sector, and she has been working with multiple EU projects. She's a professional project manager, and also used to work on markets outside Europe. So Weronica, without further ado, last but not least, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bente, and thank you very much for all these presentations, because indeed, as you said, I'm representing European Association of Remote Sensing Companies. So of course we work with companies and commercial services. So of course it was also interesting to see the ones developed in research and projects, which of course gives us also so many opportunities still, and especially in the ocean digital twin oceans, so much to explore, even just in the topic, if I can say, of oil spills. It's just like, you know, a part of it. And I know that, for instance, from our association, we have two companies who take care of that, which is KSAT and Orbital EOS. But of course, there is still so much more, and each of the cases that you showed is different and is tackling different aspect of that. So I'm sure there are many more services to still explore. But to jump in directly in our discussions is actually why EARSC is here and what do we have to do with Digital Twin Ocean. So as European Association of Remote Sensing Companies, we are a membership-based organization in Brussels, and we're gathering companies representing Earth observation downstream sector. So companies who work with the remote sensing data, with Earth observation data, delivering EO-based services. We're currently gathering more than 130 companies from 27 countries, And as much as we try to collaborate on the global scale, we're representing companies from European Union and ESA member states. And I'm sure that most of you, or maybe even some of you who are on the call, are a part of the slide where we're presenting all of our members. But what does it actually mean that we represent them, and what does it mean that we're an association of all of them? And I think first and foremost, we try to be the voice of the sector and convey all the relevant messages that they have to pass to their users, to policymakers, to decision makers, and to find the links, of course, with other initiatives like for instance, European projects, or here the digital twin of ocean, which of course is also very relevant to whole Earth observation sector. And I think it works both ways, as satellite data are contributing greatly to the development of those. And as we can see, all of the speakers today, I think, mentioned the use of satellite data, and especially Copernicus program. So what do we do, and what do we do as an association of these companies? As I said, of course, we're representing members, so we try to convey all the priorities and all the important updates coming from the sector. On the other hand, we are looking for opportunities to develop market for these companies and for the use of Earth observation, because it's not only about our companies, but the whole growth of the Earth observation sector. And as well, as Bente mentioned, internationalization, because of course the service that we're talking about, especially concerning ocean and maritime sectors, it's not only a European problem. These are topics that we're discussing on a global scale. Thirdly, we're showcasing the value of the Earth observation. We have several tools for that. One of them I will show in a moment, but basically we are trying to explore what are the benefits, social, economical, just facilitating the work of users of Earth observation. And of course, we're promoting the industry to just raise awareness and show how much easier usually and cost effective is the use of Earth observation. And here I would like to briefly introduce one of our tools that we are really proud of, which is the EARSC industry survey. It's a survey that we're conducting with the support of European Space Agency, and it's a research we do every year. Every second year, it's a little bit bigger. But this year, we're already published the one summarizing 2023. And it's a very relevant tool just to see what is actually happening in the sector and how it's developing, what are the markets that we're targeting, and what are the trends. And of course, we're very happy to share that for the last years, I think, if I'm correct, I think since the beginning of our research, we constantly see the growth of the sector. So we can already see that it's a stable sector which is constantly developing. I put in the chat the link to the newest research, but of course you can also have a look at the previous ones. And then if we wanted to dive a little bit more into the topics of today's discussion and a little bit the topic of the sector around oceans, because it's not only one specific sector. Here I'm using data from 2022 industry survey because that was the bigger one, so we had more information there. This is the graph which is showcasing how much revenues the sector is making in each of these market sectors. And of course, defense is the biggest, which is understandable. And of course, we also saw a huge growth after 2021. But here you can see, okay, so we have a little bit of fisheries, a little bit of maritime, but it's relatively small. Maybe it's 5% in total. Yes, but then if you actually think of how many companies and how many services are being provided, the graph looks completely differently. And this is what I prepared for today. So on the left side, you have the graph with the revenues, which I presented in a moment, which I presented a moment ago, and then the services provided on the right. And here on one hand, just taking out exploration, maritime, and fisheries, we're around 11% of the companies providing these services. But on the other hand, if you think about security and emergency, because for instance, oil spills are usually labeled as this one, or environment, which is related to, for instance, as we were talking about mussels and the changes of the water temperature and biodiversity, that will be the one. So then in the end, it's actually it's becoming a relevant part of the sector, and for sure there are a lot of topics which are relevant for the private sector in Earth observation as well. That's why us as EARSC, we are a part of a project OCEANID, which I also wanted to mention today, which is our new initiative launched just a year ago. It's a Horizon Europe project where we are working with coastal areas. So it's not only focusing on ocean as such, it's coastal area. So that's exactly where the offshore and onshore meets, which I think is another key. I mean, for all of us, for European society, this is the relevant point as well, because we're monitoring what's happening in the oceans, but then this is directly impacting us as well on the shore, and it's changing the sea line as well. So what are we doing in OCEANID? So in OCEANID, we have, this is just for your understanding and to highlight one thing here, we are developing a decision support tool for end users, for local and regional authorities, for ports. We're working with, in that case, we're working with European entities, but I think this is also what we started with today, and I think Bente mentioned that this digital twin and all this information about ocean will allow us for more informed decision making, and this is exactly what we're trying to provide to these end users in Europe, to be more aware of what is the actual impact of the changes and what they can do about it. Here we have the 7 pilot sites which we work with, and what is relevant is that they are they co-design with us the decision support system. So they are with us in this process to make sure that it meets their requirements and it actually provides them with the right information, not only data. And to make sure that we have some time for discussion, I will just jump quickly to the outcomes of OCEANID. We don't have it yet because, as I said, we're just running for a year. We have 2 more years to go, but basically the result that we're looking for is the decision support system, a platform where our users, as here you can see, the city of Malaga and the port of Malaga, who are our partners, to be able to evaluate, to be able to rather see the evaluation of the impact, what are the changes that are actually happening in their area, and what are the solutions that they could implement to tackle them. And with that, I will pause because I think I'm almost 10 minutes in my presentation. I'm happy to discuss that further.
Well, thank you very much, Weronica, for this very quick fix of both EARSC and the OCEANID project. Indeed, very interesting for us in Iliad to engage more with EARSC. Definitely, just the market report in itself, I see, is it's highly valuable for us when we are developing further our business plans. One quick question. I noticed that agriculture was one of the big markets, but I know that, for instance, the FAO, so the UN organization for food and agriculture, they are actually counting fisheries and aquaculture as part of the food, so agriculture part. And that is not the case in your report. Do you distinguish?
That's a very good point. I've never paid attention to that, but you're right. Indeed, our taxonomy was developed, I would say, early 2000s, before 2010, when we defined that. And we thought that it's actually easier for our research to stick to the previous version, even though it's not perfect. That's like, we have taxonomies for all the sectors. But that's a good point. I will share that with our team to really maybe evaluate that. No, right now, as you said, it's separately. So fisheries and aquaculture are separately than agriculture. But that's a good point. We haven't heard this comment before, so I'm happy to discuss that with the team.
Yes, this comes from the Group on Earth Observations discussions symposium that was in Hangzhou and even before. Yeah, so I know that UN is counting aquaculture as part of agriculture.
That's a good point. Thank you very much for sharing.
Yeah, and I want to also give the audience here a possibility to ask questions and comment. So raise your hand if you have any questions. And I wonder, while we are waiting for that, and I think maybe the pilots that you saw, well, one thing, I can start with that. Now you got, Weronica, you got some examples here of digital twins, and you saw that they were at different levels of operationalization. For instance, Antonis oil spill was more advanced in terms of operational capacity than Tom's, for instance. Now, in your world, so now this project, where you are including end user, how far are you going? I mean, are you aware of those differences, and how far do you go in terms of being operational?
Sure, that's a great question. I think being operational for projects and for research initiatives is always the challenging part. Oh, I hope you cannot. Sorry for that. I think OCEANID, we will do our best to really provide the end service to our users. That's why we started in advance, to make sure that now we are just defining what they need, and then in the upcoming years we can really provide them with an actual service where they can just really click through the platform and use it. However, what I also want to emphasize here is that as we're developing some of the layers and some of, say, for instance, coastline tracking is something we're developing with our partners. However, for some of the other services, like for instance, wave monitoring or wind speed monitoring, such services are available through Copernicus, through open sources. So we will also just integrate them, so that facilitates the process for us as a project. But also maybe in terms of maybe sustainability of the project, it's relevant also, and I think here in these cases of oil spill monitoring, it's who takes the responsibility for that, and then for maintenance of the tool, because usually we're working with local and regional authorities who don't really have funds to support such initiatives. And that, I think, brings us again to all the discussions that we had actually at Eurogeo and the climate action group, where we were discussing what to do about such solutions. That indeed there have to be initiatives that could support that. And as in our project, I think what is also good is that we have private sector representatives who are implementing the services. So in case, even if we don't have users who will be able to fully support the costs, we do have, let's say, owners of the service who would be able to maintain them and keep on providing them on the market.
Yes, and I saw, I mean, I see that there are several of the members of EARSC that potentially could provide services to operationalize some of the twins that are less mature, so to speak. I know of some that is missing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, I mean, in Iliad, we have industry, we have companies, we have academia, NGOs, etc. But we have more than 22 different thematic and local twins. So you can imagine that there might be some good fits in your network, actually. And also for, so collaboration, both on providing services, but also experiences with end user engagement, because that's also something I see that you are addressing, and I know you are doing that over some time. It's not like something new. But that's always something where we can collaborate. I'm sure Sofia here made note of several ports that could be relevant for another webinar that we have to further, link our two activities. Now, I have one question, two questions that I'm wondering. I see nobody's raising their hand, so I'm going on. There's sometimes you have private data. I know you have been involved in data spaces also, Weronica. So this, when you are providing services, some of the data for oil spill are sensitive. So for instance, bathymetry at the higher level. Now, I don't know, Antonis, if you have access to higher level bathymetry, but I know that this is a sensitive type of data. How do you, have you addressed this kind of issues in your community, Weronica?
Yes, we actually, I mean, in OCEANID, we're just starting discussing that. But as you also mentioned, the data spaces experience and the fact that we were a part of Green Deal Data Space Foundation, we were working with the use case of North Sea, and that was a region between, I think it was Denmark, Germany involved, and the Netherlands. And indeed, that was the tricky part, because it's a region relevant for all three of them. How do you then share the data? And how they approach that, and I think this is a good example to follow, but this is a little bit in the ideal world, let's say, that they created their own models, their own, let's say, good practices, how they share the data. So they all agreed to share the data between themselves, but it was according to their rules, and they defined the way it was accessible to other countries. However, it is a very slippery and difficult topic, which is also arising a lot in data spaces. And I think that's maybe so. Yeah, from my side, I unfortunately can comment only on that side. But then I'm curious actually to see maybe from other speakers if they also had such an issue and maybe they tackled that on their side.
Yeah, let's hear from Antonis, starting with you, and then Tom and Andrea. So Antonis.
For example, for the bathymetry that you mentioned, we do have around the Cretan area, we have different resolution of models, and they also use high resolution bathymetry that we also use. But there are different levels of commercialization as well. Now that we are in this under the Iliad umbrella, we offer this as a pilot with everything available. But as soon as we need to have some resources to sustain this service, we're thinking of doing something different. And this is something that the CWL packaging that I talked about enables us to do, to configure the code and have a sense of security of the data. For higher resolution models or for global lower resolution that are freely available, for example.
Yeah, right. So I will share this. So you really had a hard stop, Weronica. So I will share your answers with Weronica. I think we will have a follow-up with EARSC definitely. So it's not a waste of time to go through the speakers. So Tom, your perspective on restrictive data.
So as I mentioned, the thing is that we are intentionally only using open source data. It was one of our intentions to begin with. The only thing that is not fully open or not fully accessible, the calibrations that needs to be done in the model within different areas. So right now we have worked through several areas that already tried to collaborate with us. We have the Eastern Mediterranean, we have the Red Sea, and there was another occasion in the Canary Islands that we have tried and worked our model through. And then The only thing is that if other places would like to work or try our models, we need to know or have information regarding the basic water conditions that they are addressing. So we will know what an anomaly is in contrast to that. But we don't really have issues with data in this specific project.
No, okay. Yeah, because in generally speaking, this goes for all European projects and generally generally actually for all the members of GEO, the Group on Earth Observation, we have agreed to open data sharing and with minimum time delay and with minimum restrictions if necessary. So it's open by default, but as we know, in certain areas, it could be a conflict, as we see in certain parts of the world. It is also when you have a natural disaster, that's also suddenly making normally open data more sensitive. So you have situations, I want to just to point that you have situations where even open data need to be restricted. And how do you handle that when you develop something operational? I think this is something that definitely is relevant to address when we are developing digital twins of the ocean. I will not forget you, Andrea, to answer the question.
But I think that I'm not an expert in this field, but I think that all the data coming from this project should be open to all the possible end users. Also, because in order to create a properly digital twin, you need a lot of data in the measure area of the world. So it's very important that project like this should be opened to other projects. I think that sometimes the project ended and the data remain without use. But it is important that all the projects speak between them and sharing all as much as possible all the data in order to don't lose this chance, this opportunity to have data, but not using it.
Yes, but that's I definitely agree. But in your case, so you are working with farmers, right? So
Yes.
Aquaculture farmers. And there's a certain competition between these farmers, I'm sure. And so sharing some of the data can it be company sensitive? Did you encounter any of these kind of issues? Even, so you have sensors per farm. Is that something that is regarded sensitive?
This is the first sensors that we insert in the mussel farm. So in Italy we don't have this kind of technology for the moment. But I think that if this technology will be implemented, there will be some problem in case of toxins or other contaminants into the sea, because I think that the farmer don't want that the other know if they have something in the farming site. So maybe yes, in this case, in case of virus or bacteria detected in a mussel farms, could some problem with the sharing of the data could be happen. But for now we don't have a network of this kind. Yes, we work on it. We wanna create it, but now the sector is not so developed.
I see. Okay. Thank you. Sofia, do you have any questions to the speakers?
Actually, I don't have questions, but I would like to comment on this data accessibility, because from the commercialization point of view and in different types of research in economics domain, we can see that when something is free, it's considered not to be such a not to have such a value for the user in case of that he paid for it. This is just a kind of psychological phenomenon that was actually a kind of the researchers had experiments. They tried to find out is the same thing has the same value for the person if he gets it free or if he paid for it. And it doesn't matter what is the amount of payment. And they found out that really, if someone pays for something, this something is considered to be more valuable for that person that if he get the same thing just for free. This is a kind of, I guess this is a kind of economic phenomenon. Probably we can somehow address this in the strategy of project development just to deliver like a kind of value that is inside this data or this twin or whatever we are developing.
This is interesting that you say, because what we have found in GEO, the Group on Earth Observation, is the exact opposite. Because, yeah, exactly, because, the Landsat is one of the other, big data providers, remote sensing data. And it was, you had to pay a lot for the data before, and they were experimenting and to lower the price, and they got a little bit more use because the problem was almost nobody used. It was not used. The value of the data was not exploited, to put it that way. Now, when they were releasing all the data for free, the use exploded exponentially. And the data was used to create businesses, to create services, and had an enormous economic impact. I don't have the number in my head now, but people have calculated that, and it's billions of dollars that is generated from that. So it depends on how. I know the psychology behind, if you pay for something, generally it's regarded a higher value. But in case of data sharing, open data, it might be it might depend.
But I think this is an interesting issue for the strategy, to announce that this is extremely expensive, and they just to say that this is free. This will create the awareness, and I guess can create the same case you were describing, that this free data will be really used a lot. But this is a kind of marketing trick.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting. I think it's an interesting crossroad for the open data, open science, open knowledge, value thinking, and the fact that nothing is really for free. I mean, you have to pay for something, and so I mean, you have to pay. The idea with satellites is that we as people, we have already paid for it. So the argument was not necessary to pay it twice, right? Because we have the taxation, etc. Anyways, it's an interesting. When we are now looking into digital twins, to round it up, because we are now in 90 minutes, to round it up, I think when we are looking at digital twins in practice, we need also to take into consideration this kind of issues that we mentioned here. The psychology of a market, the commercialization, and other ways of making the digital twins sustainable. It could be uptake in public administration. Some of it can be free, some of it needs to be paid. etc. So this kind of discussions is absolutely necessary when we are looking at digital twins in practice. And with that, I would like to end this webinar. Thank you so much for all the speakers. Excellent results. I must say, a little bit biased since I'm a part of Iliad, but I really enjoyed looking at the results. Very exciting. And I do see a lot of potential for reusability across different geographical areas, but also across disciplines. We will continue these webinars, Digital Twins in Practice, after New Year's. So the first webinar in the Iliad webinar series, actually we have an extra one already on the 5th of February. So mark your notes, we will share information about it. But every second Wednesday, as usual, at 3 o'clock Central European Time, we will have a Iliad webinar where we will roll out more digital twins in practice, but also show you and share with you more of the different resources that goes into creating digital twins of the ocean. So other twin initiatives, EMODNet kind of resources, maybe national resources that is useful for building digital twins. These are the topics for the coming half year. And I just encourage you to follow us on social media to get more information on what and when. And if you have something interesting to talk about and you would like to present in our webinars, please contact me. With that, I think we can close the webinar and see you over in 2025.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.